And then the part that stood out to me the most was different types of movement on the court. So she's not just running in a straight line. Running in a straight line, you don't have to worry about your groin so much. Obviously, a negative as far as how soon Caitlin Clark will be back, because she will be in practice before she returns to the court, being articulated there. Also, we knew that she was doing full court running, but Stephanie White saying more of it, full body weight, all that stuff. I would guess at least a few practices before she returns to the floor. But that isn't to say there isn't progress.
Caitlin Clark has been in the spotlight long enough to know how to handle almost anything. Fierce opponents, roaring crowds, hostile arenas, and relentless media. She's seen it all and usually walks away unfazed. Her game speaks louder than words, and when she does speak, it's with the kind of confidence that makes people stop and listen. But what happened this week was different. It wasn't about sinking a game winner or taking over in crunch time.
It comes from, if I had to best guess, that ESPN estimate of August 12th of her as her return, and the fact that there had been no official status updates. However, we know that the Fever are long playing and slow playing this. That doesn't mean Caitlin Clark is not going to be back. Put it up in the air, and then they have specific designations like out for season or game time decision, whatever. And that was just the placeholder for Clark.
It was about witnessing something so unexpected, so jarring, that for the first time in a long time, Caitlin Clark found herself completely speechless. The catalyst? Stephanie White. For months, White had been a steady, reliable figure in Clark's professional life. A coach who kept things balanced, level-headed, and on course. White's style had been one of quiet authority, calm under pressure, detail-oriented, and focused on execution. Her players respected her because she didn't need to yell to make her point. She knew her basketball, she knew her players, and she knew how to get results. But no one, not even Caitlin Clark, was prepared for the version of Stephanie White that showed up this week.
Caitlin starting full court running last week. Has she been able to do anything extra since then or return to practice at all?
No return to practice.
And here is what the Fever coach had to say about Clark's possible return.
To do longer periods of time. She's been able to do a little bit more on the court in terms of how she moves, but not into practice yet.
It all started in what should have been a standard team meeting. The players came in expecting the usual rundown, film breakdown, defensive assignments, offensive sets, maybe a few reminders about staying focused for the next matchup. Clark sat in her usual spot, jotting notes and keeping her mind sharp. White entered the room with her usual composure, but something in her body language was different, more direct, more forceful. It wasn't the stride of someone coming in to discuss basketball strategy. It was the walk of someone about to drop a bombshell. When she began speaking, the change was undeniable. Gone was the measured, even tone the team had grown accustomed to. Her voice carried a sharper edge, the kind that makes everyone sit up straighter without even realizing it. The first few sentences hinted at something personal. She wasn't talking about the opponent.
So it does sound like the Fever are continuing to build her up step by step, block by block. Lateral movements that you would have to do on the floor, side to side, explosive movements. Those are the things that you'd have to worry about protecting your groin on, being articulated there. Also, we knew that she was doing full court running, but Stephanie White saying more of it, full body weight, all that stuff.
She wasn't talking about the standings. She was talking about herself, her role, her vision, her evolution as a leader. And then she said it outright. Things were going to be different from this moment forward. White revealed that she was transforming her approach. She wasn't content to simply manage the game anymore. She was going to lead with intensity, to push every single player harder than ever before, including Caitlin Clark. She was done playing it safe, done holding back, and done allowing anyone, herself included, to settle for good enough. The quiet, composed coach was still there, but now she was fused with something new, an unshakable, unapologetic drive to dominate. The room went silent. Clark, who has built her career on quick thinking and always having an answer, didn't move. Her eyes stayed locked on White, her mind processing every word. This wasn't just a motivational speech, it was a declaration of war on complacency. White wasn't talking about tweaks. She was talking about tearing down the old approach and building something stronger from the ground up. As she spoke, there was no pacing, no fidgeting, no hedging her words. Every sentence was deliberate, every pause intentional. The players could feel it, This wasn't just about basketball, this was about identity. White was setting a new standard, one that demanded more from everyone in the room, even the superstars. She made it clear that no one was untouchable, no one was above the grind, and no one was going to get a free pass.
That will be the game, I think, to watch out for when it comes to Caitlin Clark's possible return. August 22nd was the date I had sort of earmarked, simply because of the way the schedule falls. The Fever have a break between the game Tuesday and the game Friday. However, until we see her on the floor in practice, it means it's not imminent, meaning in the next game or so.
Clark's reaction was telling. She didn't smile, didn't nod, didn't interject with her usual confidence. She just listened. It was rare to see her this still, this locked in. She'd been coached by intense leaders before, but this was different. White's words weren't just loud, they were heavy, and they carried a promise. This team was going to be pushed to its absolute limit. By the time White wrapped up, the air in the room had shifted. Players exchanged looks, some with surprise, others with quiet excitement. Clark stayed in her seat for a moment longer, as if she needed an extra second to process what had just happened. When she finally stood, she didn't offer a quick quip or a rallying cry. She simply walked out with a look that said it all. She had just witnessed a turning point. Later, reporters tried to get her take. This was Caitlin Clark, after all. Fans expect her to always have a headline-worthy answer. But this time, she was careful. She admitted she was caught off guard. She said she respected what White had to say and that she was ready for the challenge. But you could tell, underneath that composed exterior, she was still digesting it. For fans watching from the outside, this might not seem like a big deal. Coaches give speeches all the time. Players get motivated. The cycle repeats. But this was different. This wasn't about hype. It was about a fundamental change in leadership style. White wasn't just evolving. She was reinventing herself. She was stepping into a role that would demand more of her players, but also more of herself. That's the part that hit Clark the hardest.
Meanwhile, Odyssey Sims filling in the meantime, will continue to be a player for the Fever once Caitlin Clark returns, most likely, assuming she makes the most of her opportunity. This is what she had to say today after her first Fever practice. YouTube channel obviously has the right head on her shoulders, the right mentality about things, just like with Ari McDonald, understanding what an opportunity this is for her.
She's used to being the center of attention, the player everyone looks to when things get tough. But now, there was a new presence in the room, one that could command the spotlight without even touching a basketball. It wasn't about stealing Clark's shine. It was about making the entire team stronger. And Clark, as competitive as she is, seemed to welcome that challenge, even if she needed a moment to process it. The ripple effect of this transformation could be huge. A coach willing to evolve in real time sends a powerful message. No one is above growth. No one is too experienced to change, and no one is too successful to get better. If White can back up her words with action, the rest of the league might be in for a wake-up call.
Time is going to run out. That hourglass is going to empty. But until then, they got life, what it takes, and acclimate herself rather quickly. And hopefully plays well enough where it does feel like she's a part of the team in the rotation, and, you know, give her a little grace as far as she fits in, but she's been around the block, so she should understand.
For Clark, this could be the perfect spark. She thrives when she's pushed, when she has something to prove, when the stakes are high. And now she has a coach who's not just willing to set those stakes, but raise them higher than ever before. The chemistry between a star player and a transformed coach can change the trajectory of a season. It can turn a good team into a great one, and a great team into a championship contender. What happened in that meeting wasn't a pep talk. It was the start of something bigger. It was a shift in the team's DNA, a recalibration of what it means to wear the jersey. And if the stunned look on Caitlin Clark's face was any indication, the rest of the season is going to be one to watch. Stephanie White didn't just change her role. She changed the entire energy around the team. She showed that leadership isn't static, that even those at the top can push themselves to be better, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is surprise the people who think they know you best. For a player like Caitlin Clark, who's built on relentless drive and competitive fire, having someone match that energy in a completely new way might be the game changer she didn't know she needed. And for the fans, it's a reminder that in sports, just when you think you've seen it all, there's always another twist waiting. Like the video and catch a dime.